So then in 2009, Keefe D has a PCP operation that he's running and a cocaine operation. You show up at his house and you say, look, we're going to offer you a proffer agreement for cooperation in the 2Pac murder in exchange for dropping all these drug charges that would put him in jail for life.
Not exactly. It's close, but not exactly. We never said that we were dropping any of the drug charges. There was never that agreement or that understanding. He thought that was potentially going to happen is that he'd get charged on the drug charges and his cooperation would go towards mitigating whatever sentence he received.
Aha. Okay. So the same day that you show up at his house, you guys meet and actually start the proffer.
No. So we go to his house. We meet him in his front yard initially. We have a brief conversation in the garage and we say, listen, we've got this case we've built against you over the past however long it'd been. And, we're aware of all your drug activity. We've had your phone tapped and all this stuff. And we suggest you get an attorney and meet us at the U.S. Attorney's office or give us a call and let us know if you'd be willing to sit down and have a conversation. He calls an attorney. That attorney calls us and says, when can we meet? We say, this afternoon is great. Why don't you meet us at the U.S. Attorney's office? And so that's what happened. And then once we get to that meeting, his attorney, representing Keefe, and the U.S. attorney have a conversation, and that's when the agreement to cooperate is made.
Okay, and that's the proffer agreement.
That's the proffer agreement.
Explain to everyone, because this question comes up whenever I do interviews about this, the difference between immunity and proffer.
So there's two types of immunity, ultimately. There's called use immunity and transactional immunity. I won't get into those differences other than Keefe never got immunity, which means that you can't be prosecuted. Right? That's the whole thing. You're immune from it. This is not that at all. This is just a situation where you sit down, you agree to honestly answer whatever questions we ask you about any criminal activity that you're involved in. And we will not use those statements back against you. Doesn't mean that you can't be prosecuted for the crimes, because you can, as we well know now. So his understanding was simply that whatever I say, they're not going to turn around and use it against me to prosecute. Mm-hmm. But they can take that information I say about other people and use that to prosecute them. Or if other people provide information about me that's incriminating, then they can use that to prosecute me.
Right. Now, you were secretly recording him this whole time.
I wasn't. I was completely unaware of the fact that there was a recording going on. I didn't find out until I think the interview was on a Friday, and that following Monday, one of the other detectives that had been in the room, a guy named Bill Holcomb, he walks up and he hands me a CD, and he goes, "Hey, this is from the other day." I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like the interview the other day. I was like, "No shit, you recorded that?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Fuck, all right. Well, thank you." So I was completely unaware of the fact that there was a recording going on during that interview. But, thank God Bill had the foresight to hide a recorder and to surreptitiously record that, because that became everything.
Well, what kind of recorder was it?
I have no idea.
No idea. He just said, "Here's
no
the recording."
Idea. I'm sure it's a little micro recorder.
Don't worry about how I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is all perfectly legal.
100% legal. Yeah. And so it's in a conference room at his lawyer's office. So it wasn't like the room was wired. So whatever device Bill had, I'm sure it was probably just a micro recorder.
Well, but you said it was at the state attorney's office.
No. So the agreement for Keefe D to cooperate,
Aha.
that took place at the U.S. Attorney's office.
Okay.
And then as a result of that, we did several follow-up interviews.
Okay. At Keefe's lawyer's office.
Correct.
Aha. So your guy showed up recording everything secretly at this other office.
That's right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many hours of confession footage are there in existence?
Well, now what we were trying to do was isolate these interviews to specific subjects so that we didn't get all over the place. This particular interview was designated to just be about 2Pac's murder.
Mhm.
And so I think that interview lasted over 2 hours, somewhere between 2.5 hours. And then that was the purpose of that particular interview.
Do you still have all the audio from all the hours of interview footage?
For the 2Pac interview, yeah. So that was 2 hours. But the other ones, again, Bill Holcomb wasn't in any of those other interviews.
So you weren't recording yourself?
No, we weren't recording at all.
Okay,
but you have
2.5 hours of Keefe confessing.
Correct.